Across the U.S., demonstrators have held over 140 protests in 40 different states to voice growing frustration over the rapid construction of AI data centers. Organized by the nonpartisan group Humans First, the rallies brought together local communities that were concerned about the heavy environmental footprint of these massive tech facilities. Residents highlighted a few risks, including growing electricity demands, millions of gallons of water usage, and a complete lack of transparency during local approval processes. While tech giants argue that these centers are vital for economic growth and national competitiveness, protesters are demanding stronger regulatory oversight, environmental safeguards, and clear community benefits before they allow any new facilities to be built. Al, do you think that local communities should have the authority to halt local AI developments over resource concerns? Or should national technology growth just take a priority and they should sit down and shut up?
I think one of the telling points in here is talking about how many people turned up to these protests. So 140 demonstrations, they're talking about dozens of people turning up to these protests, not hundreds or thousands of people turning up to these protests. So I wonder whether this is simply a collection of NIMBYs, not in my backyard, people who think that AI data centers can exist but don't want them near. They want the AI data center to be somebody else's problem. Now, let's be clear. I think massive build-outs of AI data centers can be pretty detrimental to environments, particularly since there's a tendency to build them in locations where there's a shortage of the very resources they use. Those resources being primarily power and water consumed via evaporative cooling at the times when water supply is usually the lowest during the hot months. So yeah, I think there's some challenges around where these data centers are being built and whether that are beneficial to local communities, whether they should be, or whether the larger need for these data centers across the entire country, across the entire world, overrides the local interest. And there's always that balance. There needs to be some trade-off between local impact and global need. Case by case, these decisions have to be made. The challenge at the moment is that the explosive growth of AI data centers is driving massive data centers being built in huge numbers of locations, unprecedented numbers of data centers, you might say. And nobody wants to live in unprecedented times. At least none of us have lived through the last 10 years do. I think it is good that there is some coordination of the groups of people so that they can share resources. So Humans First is a very new nonprofit recently established to coordinate the local groups who are wanting more of a say. They're not necessarily saying they don't want AI data centers to be built, but they want some involvement in it. Yeah, 1,400 AI data centers are built or completed or approved by the end of 2025, more projects. Now, it's huge amounts of AI build out, and there's some definite skepticism. We've seen news reports that we've covered as well around noise of construction and ongoing noise, some of the design decisions in these data centers that have ongoing impact for their local communities where the communities have had no input. So yeah, more input into the planning stages is probably a good thing. And these data centers are still going to be built. They're still going to be built near you. Just probably want to have some input on making sure that that's an acceptable thing around you.